and we've got ourselves a little bit of a series. You know who had a long layoff? Max Scherzer had not pitched in a minute. You know, some things I noticed, Kratz, were that he actually got to 2 strikes very frequently, and I didn't crunch every single number. I just wasn't putting dudes away, and some of that could be on him. Some of that could be on the Astros, too. Pretty good contact team, and they were sitting on the fastball and sometimes got it over the heart of the plate. They did their damage. They did their damage early on. This was like many playoff games that we've seen so far in 2023. You jump ahead, you get a lead like that, and the Rangers showed some fight, especially Josh Young had himself a day, but it wasn't enough. This is what you'd expect. This is road Astros baseball with Javier and the boys showing up.
Road at the Globe too, not just regular road Astros, at the Globe Astros. Like Globe Life has been there. They've been their daddy there. I mean, it was impressive too because they kept like the 2-run. I'm trying to think who it was. Oh, when Josh Young hit the second home run, had the Astros not added on there, and this I think is where the bullpen strength maybe flexed a little bit by the Rangers. They didn't quite have the strength to keep that a 5. That would have been a 5-4 game after Josh Young hits that dinger. Instead, it's 7-4. You're still 3 runs up. Like you don't even need to bring Brian Abreu in. Like there's weaknesses that I think were shown by the Rangers, but man, the Astros, and now they're coming into tonight's game against, I mean, the entire lineup hits over 250 against Andrew Heaney, which I was surprised. I think Andrew Heaney in a small sample size, he can throw that curveball enough, but you can't just keep throwing the curveball, and I think that's his best weapon to neutralize these guys.
Yeah, and you think about the whole situation with Scherzer, like, you know, when you're facing guys like Maldonado, usually you put those kind of guys away. And, you know, 2-strike RB, a couple RBI single. What's his name is just the big dog's cracking all the home runs. Yordan Alvarez gosh. Is just he's unconscious right now. It doesn't matter if it's a lefty throwing, a righty throwing, ambidextrous. It doesn't matter. This guy is off the chain right now. You have to go like this anytime there's a runner on. I mean, there's something going on. He is just absolutely in fuego. He's going to make a lot more money too with the way he's playing. It's just what I think about now. If they do go Game 7, that's Scherzer's start. You know, that's what's supposed to be the starter that comes out. So it's like, boy, I think the Rangers right now, it's crazy how momentum can shift from one game to the next, and all of a sudden you're up 2-1. It doesn't feel like you're up 2-1. So it's something where I think at the end of the day, the Rangers would like to win this in six games, I would assume.
And the bottom of the lineup showed up too, Kratz, as we're looking at Mad Max. Bottom of the lineup for the Astros. And they made the change. Kyle Tucker down to the 6 hole. Yep. Don't tell me that lineup changes don't matter. Brantley up to the 2 spot. Tucker was a beast yesterday, an on-base machine. He had 3 walks and a knock. And then the bottom of the lineup, like you mentioned with Maldonado, also had Mauricio Dubon, who can show up and give you a little streak like that yesterday, who had a few knocks. So it was the bottom getting the job done for the most part for Houston. So give them some credit when we've been like praising the Rangers' length in their lineup, which it's still there. Josh Young getting the job done there towards the bottom, and Tavares has been great for them. But the Astros have some thump there too.
Yeah, and I said this in the beginning of the playoffs. I said, what's going to be the biggest difference? I said, listen, you're going to have your pitching, you're going to have your hitting. The biggest difference, how are those bottom of the lineup guys, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9s, going to bode well? And Texas did in the beginning with Josh Young and Carter. But now Carter's a 3-hole hitter. Mm-hmm. So it goes to show you, like, if you're hot, we're going to move you up. And Bruce Bochy, I love that about him. So how are the rest of these guys at the bottom going to stack up? Because they're going to come up with some situations, as you've seen, with runners on especially. They walk a guy, the 3-hole hitter, a bloop single. You know, put this guy on. Now you got your 7-hole hitter up, like, all right, 2 outs. Who's going to step up? Astros did that yesterday.
Yeah, and Yordan, I mean, he's either going to do damage or get on base. And I actually thought one of the key moments, too, Kratz, was you have Mo2, back foot literal slider that hits him and gets him on. He eventually scores. Also, Max's command, wasn't the same, right? We had some wild pitches. You had some pitches over the middle of the plate from the fastball, which, is not good from him. So, I think for me, Tucker in that spot, right? Yordan's usually going to be on or he drove people in. He was kind of like the second table setter there for them. Best 6 hitter on the planet, if that's where you're putting Kyle Tucker.
It lengthened everything out. It showed. I mean, as soon as that lineup came out, that's why I wanted that. I wanted the Jordan walk, because they're not gonna. I didn't think they were gonna throw to Jordan, and then you get to Tucker in the 6 hole, and you're like, oh yeah, no way they're gonna throw to Tucker now. And he ended up doing damage and lengthening that lineup out. And I think the big thing you hit on that was key for Scherzer was his location. His average fastball velocity, while it's not up to his like peak numbers, it was essentially where it was all season this year. He's a 93 to 94, touch to 95 guy. But it's that location. And to miss a pull hooked cutter that he was trying to go up and in to Jordan, and he pull hooked it back foot, or at least it looked like he was trying to go up and in, because Heim had his mitt all the way up and in, and it was 0-2. You were ahead, and that's where you go with him. But to pull it to his back foot behind his front foot, it was telling. And that's why he gave up the damage that he ended up giving up. Like, he didn't want to throw that ball to Altuve where he did. And Altuve finally got off the schneid too, which makes this team scary. Like, if the Diamondbacks win tonight, are we saying the same thing? Or this afternoon's 5 o'clock game, are we saying the same thing? Because right now everyone's like, oh, Houston's made. Now we have a series. Like, it's still 2-1 Texas, and they're at home. But for some reason, we keep painting the narrative that the Astros are going to just dominate in Houston. But that's what they've done all year. So it's like, why would it go? Why would it not?
Exactly, 100%. And they've been there before, and they have done it numerous times. We've been a part of one. So it's like, what do you expect? Do you expect something different? They're not going to come out and do damage on the road. And I go back to the point with Christian Javier. I mean, I don't know why this guy's not the number 2 starter. Why he didn't throw game 2. Like, this guy should. I know that'll be game 7. Imagine having that guy game 7. I mean, that's pretty darn good if you ask me. But I would have moved him up. Like, this guy needs to be pitching a lot more.
Well, if they make the World Series,
I think you make a change.
And let's say Framber's not good again in his next start.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite obvious Christian Javier's got it a lot more than Framber Valdez right now.
Yeah, Verlander than him, 100%.
Yep.
So here's my question. If you see Javier, which he had some struggles during the season, he was the same guy last night, no extra velocity, he struggled with some command, and he wasn't striking guys out. If you see him more than once, Todd,
yeah,
think about how you start catching up to that fastball. And I think, to me, that's where in the regular season, guys are in the same environment, seeing him all the time. He only had 3 strikeouts last night. To me, there's a lot of Rangers, and this is the type of pitcher he is. You go back, he hit some pop-ups because he had a lot of fly balls. Oh, I just missed that. Oh, I just missed that. But now you see him again within a quick series, within the 4 days that you're going to see him again. Maybe you get to him.
Yeah, but this is a guy that they've seen before. I mean, he's played Texas.
Not in this environment. Not with the extra.
I understand, but still, it's a guy you've seen before. So, like,
totally. But
it's one of the playoffs. Oh, they're all of a sudden it's totally different. I think it's different, right. Yes, but I still think it's the same guy that you're facing. It's just blown up a little bigger. I get it. But I
think his superpower is that spin rate fastball at the top of the zone. Everything else he throws is just to Maldonado's like, please don't leave it right down the middle. Like, he's given wide sets. He's given deep corners on changeups. Like, he's not looking for him to throw anything middle at all. This is where he's making his money. So to me, that fastball, because when Todd Frazier hits in the postseason, you got more juice. You're whacking balls. You just have that extra adrenaline. Christian Javier has more spin rate. No more velocity, but more spin rate, that little at the end.
A little heavier. Yep, for sure.
My one other point is, do you take anything out of Brian Abreu giving up his first run in decades? That was his first run in 31 appearances since July 15th. Adolis had the 2-out RBI knock through the right side. It's not like he crushed it, but you're getting another look at him. They kept the game close. Abreu is not pitching in that game if it's 8-2, right? It was 8-4, becomes 8-5. And we know the thing about a 7-game series is if you use the relievers, your high leverage relievers, what, 5+ times in that series? Muscle memory. These are professional hitters. It helps. They are less intimidated the more they see him. Now you go in the dugout, hey, boys, he's human. Look, we got to run off of him. We can do this. Because for a while, for half the freaking season, it didn't look like that was possible.
And rarely do you get seen that many times in a short span of time, and you continue to dominate. And that's what's impressive about what Ryan Pressly has done in his career. He's always going out there and just converting. Mariano Rivera, what he did in his career, he's like, you knew what you're getting, and guys could not make the adjustment. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Abreu coming down the stretch here. Because he's going to, for them, it's like I said yesterday about Framber, the day before his start. If he doesn't throw well, he is a key to this series because he's got to throw twice. For them to win after they lost game 1, he's got to throw twice. If they lose game 2, they did lose game 2. If the Astros are going to win, you're going to have to see Brian Abreu out on the mound 3 more times. I don't see this being a blowout. In fact, I even see Heaney doing decent tonight.